What is up, everybody? Good morning and welcome back to Marvel Rivals. Today we're going to be doing another spectating video. This time we're going to be looking at Zing. This is actually his alt account, so he is playing Zing, but he plays Star-Lord here. As you can see, the replay ID is down here, but I will include it in the description below. Let's just get right into the replay and see what's going on. I did pick Star-Lord for this morning just because I feel like a lot of people that I've seen in ranked struggle to get a little bit more value off of Star-Lord. They really just play for their ult, which is obviously, a good thing. He has a very, very powerful ult, can do a ton with that, but doing damage in the interim, still getting a good amount of kills there is something that I see a lot of people struggle with. So hopefully this will help, just seeing how a very, very good player, how someone who's played in the Marvel Rivals Champions plays this character as well. So getting right into it, getting a couple shots to start out. He's playing really, really far up here, going over to the right, still staying out of line of sight for the most part. Sees his team trying to deal with someone in the back line and chases down the Psylocke here with the help of the Bucky. So they're automatically going to start a person up. I didn't even know you could break this wall over on this left-hand side here. Gets right in on the Luna and using his left shift to get away. I don't think he's going to be quite as good as Brooks on Star-Lord, but this guy's a very, very good player. Seeing that his team needs help with Hulk, Hulk is kind of chasing him down a little bit out of position. Turns around to help them out and then gets right back on the Psylocke, trying to keep this high ground clear, getting a little bit of a different angle instead of just playing the main drag with tanks. Sees Psylocke dealing with his backline. He drops back there to help out with her. His Doctor Strange does fall, but he is able to take the cloak very, very low. Or the Invisible Woman very, very low. Getting the finish on her with the help of Bucky again. And just running down these squishier targets with the help of that Bucky there. And this is a Celestial lobby as well, so keep in mind that these are still good players. They might have had a bad game. All of that sort of stuff still applies, but he's getting on these healers here and making their lives miserable. Bucky's already farmed ult here, trying to help him get the resets however he can. And does end up popping ult all the way back here, forcing the Invisible Woman ult, which is going to be a huge swing for the next upcoming fight. -1 support ult on the enemy team. That support ult effectively just, they probably could have just eaten his ult, honestly, and just held that Invisible Woman ult. That's probably what I would have done, but, they're not going to be able to stop the point before it gets to around this point anyway. They have a quick run back. Should be okay. The enemy Bucky ults, but they're able to turn and quickly take him out. Returning some damage on the Doctor Strange, forcing the Luna ult to make sure that he stays alive. His Doctor Strange ults here, but not able to get anything, and he's looking to take out the Star-Lord when he's ulting. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it, but his Luna ult is going, so they're going to be able to stay alive pretty easily here. Playing less of angles here because there's not a whole lot of different angles to play, but still looking to get some damage on the backliners here, getting damage on the healers. And they are playing a 3-healer comp on the enemy team, so making sure that 1 or 2 of these healers are taken out with haste is definitely a good thing to do. He's already farmed ult again, so, he knows Invisible Woman doesn't have that ult. Make sure that he takes her out there. And as you can see, he took her out at 98% of her ult charge. He knows those ults are a little bit synced up. And then Invisible Woman is down, not able to use her ult to keep her team alive during that. Opting to use the res over on the left-hand side here. And still playing a little bit more on the flanks if he can. Knocking someone off of that high ground before going towards this right-hand side. Trying to get another E. Get that aimbot damage in the back line. Invisible Woman ults. I think that's, again, a pretty bad ult from her. I'm not really sure what she's doing here. I think typically, in my experience, you probably want to counter ults with Invisible Woman ult. Or something like that, like Bucky ult or his ult or something like that. There's not going to be too many threats aside from those two things, or Agamotto or something like that. So she effectively wastes that. They do pop the Luna ult in the enemy team, and Bucky ult comes out. They're going to get wiped pretty easily here. Bucky should have plenty of damage to take his whole team out, and they can't do anything there. So they were kind of due for a wipe, but still 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock, so they're sitting pretty. Respawning, they have a quick run back, especially on this point because it kind of curves around. And just getting some extra shots through here, building up his ult charge. Using his left shift burst to reposition a little bit. And sitting on almost his third ult of the game. Getting some shots where he can. Still not putting a whole lot of pressure on the backline here now. He does ult directly into the Cloak and Dagger ult. I think that was popped before he actually ulted himself there. Let's just go back and see what that's like. I think I went a little bit too far back, but let's see here. So Cloak and Dagger is holding on to her ult. And he farms the rest of his ult. And Cloak ult is popped. They're about the same time. So he doesn't necessarily... It's just kind of unfortunate in that situation. But just going to get a bunch of damage on the Doctor Strange. Do a little bit of scoreboard padding here. And his Luna pops ult, so they're going to be able to step up there. They've countered the Star-Lord ult. Getting some good aimbot in here using his E. Doctor Strange gets a very nice ult, lines up all the headies on the Star-Lord, able to take him out very quickly with the help of that Doctor Strange Agamotto. And going over to the right-hand side here, seeing the Invisible Woman taken low, is able to get the KO on her. Finishes off the Bucky here. And they have 2 healers alive and the Star-Lord, but Star-Lord is actually dropping very, very low there. Eye of Agamotto comes out from the enemy Doctor Strange, not able to get anything off of that, and he gets right back in here on this Luna with a little bit less self-healing. She has to get bailed out by the Invisible Woman. Just pops ult, finishes off the Luna. Should be able to take out the Invisible Woman here. And he keeps both of those healers busy on the right-hand side while the rest of the team is taken out there. Get a nice stagger on the Bucky, 9 more seconds on him as his team is still respawning, and they are going to play a little bit more space here. Using his dash to try and get out of danger, not able to do it. Opts to respawn, saving his res since the respawn point did just change. He should spawn just behind this payload. Not a big run back at all. Good game knowledge, good job just knowing kind of where the spawns are. I do see a lot of people opt to use their reses in situations like that, thinking it'll save them time. Just reset, the rest of his team is resetting anyway, so he's not missing out on anything. Gets hooked by the Bucky there, a little bit scary playing in the main corridor here. They do lose 2 on their team, so he's just getting a little bit of cheeky damage, but just going to get taken out. I would be surprised if he used his res here. Yeah, there we go. And we're just going to go back to spawn one more time. Still 1 minute and 30 seconds on the clock here, and they are looking at Adam Warlock ult, so having that res in their back pocket. Luna ult is just coming up, and Doctor Strange also has his ult, so a couple big DPS cooldowns. Star-Lord kind of runs it down there, and he sees both these healers on high ground, so goes and uses his E to take them out. Takes Luna very, very low. Going to res around this corner because his positioning is pretty good. Luna ult is forced here. Doctor Strange gets a nice one-shot on both the Bucky and the Invisible Woman. And the enemy, Luna, will just be keeping pretty much one person alive with her ult. Nothing too crazy. And Star-Lord ult is coming up. So he should be saving this before, or until after the Cloak and Dagger ult is fading. Making sure to get out of line of sight, keeping this hallway in his back pocket if he needs to line of sight the Agamotto, which he does. The enemy Star-Lord does ult. They don't have any defensive ults for that, but he's able to just line of sight it, stay a little bit safe. And once that fades, it's going to be his turn here in a second. Able to get the KO on the Star-Lord as he goes into melee range. Gets hooked out of the sky in his ult, which is a little bit scary. Choosing to focus on the Bucky here instead of the healers, knowing that they're not going to be able to keep him up without any big defensive cooldowns. Getting right in there using his E. And they don't have any stall ults left, so they're going to quickly take out these last 2 healers, last 3 healers, take out the Psylocke that goes for the touch, and get the 3-0 victory in the first round. I do think his E usage is incredibly good there. There's a lot of Star-Lords that will just hold down left click into a Magneto or Doctor Strange shield or something like that, looking for those different angles, looking for some E's where you get that aimbot, that cleave damage on the backline. Definitely something you want to do if you haven't been doing it on Star-Lord. Thing does a lot of damage. I think it does like 60 to 70% of someone's health if you hit every shot with your E. just on a backline character. So if they don't get healed, you can take someone out really, really quickly. Landing some nice hits on this Star-Lord, trying to force him off of high ground. Still gets ego chowed there. Able to get the KO. Pretty wild ego chow, especially when he's taken that low. Looks like the enemy Star-Lord has rezzed here. But he's got the snowflake on him. He should be able to win this fight with the help of a little bit of healing. And they're just spinning around in the air. Can't miss his shots, so uses his E, takes him a little bit low. Almost able to finish off the Adam Warlock there, and his team is pushing up right after him. Adam Warlock getting the kill on the Bucky, jumping over this Doctor Strange and getting a nice E in the back line. Ending off on this rooftop, so he's able to stay out of danger. Doctor Strange drops incredibly low here, and Bucky has ulted as well on his team. Didn't even really see him ult. But they're gonna be sitting pretty here. This corner is very, very hard to take on this checkpoint. So if you're able to stop people on this checkpoint, definitely play this corner. It's kind of brutal to take. His Invisible Woman ults to try and stay alive through the enemy Bucky. They're gonna stay pretty safe here. Luna ult is forced as well, as Eye of Agamotto is popped. Luna ult on the enemy team is also used, and he's just waiting those out, staying nice and safe. Popping his ult back in a corner. Maybe able to take the Luna ult out as she goes in there. Unfortunately lives on an absolute sliver of health. Walks into the Invisible Woman ult. And he is just resetting back here. His team is pretty much dead. The enemy just gets this checkpoint and he's just going to die. Not using that res from the Adam Warlock. And they're just going to fully reset and play for this next point. 4 minutes on the clock though, so it's going to be a little bit of a tough hold. This is also a game that... Oh, they are playing 3 healers. Never mind. I do like Adam as a third flex healer, though. He can pump a lot of tank healing in. He has that spirit bond, so you can stay safe through a lot of different things. In higher level lobbies, definitely seeing a little bit more Adam, because he's doing a good amount of damage, I would imagine, too. Yeah, he's on almost 8,000 damage, which is a little bit crazy. I guess the other healers are doing about that, too, but the enemy Adam is... Or no, 10k damage. There we go. The Adam gap on this game is crazy. So, taking the Doctor Strange low there. Not able to finish him off, but the Spirit Bond on the enemy team is popped. Spirit Bond on his team comes out. Going to be periodically equalizing that health, getting a little bit of extra healing there. And he's playing very frontline here, not going for any flanks in this situation. And there we go. Once again, taking the rooftops, trying to get this Star-Lord off of high ground. Using his E just to take him out. Gets some nice hit markers there. Doctor Strange ult comes out. Forces the enemy Luna to pop her ult to keep people alive. And they do lose 2 there. Luna going to fall right after. And he's just going to back up as his Bucky falls as well. So has farmed yet another Star-Lord ult. I think that's his 5th or 6th ult this game. So very good at just consistently doing damage. Consistently getting ult. Think that's definitely a good thing to do. Sneaks up on the Star-Lord, tries to line up some headies. Absolutely fries him as he goes to the ground. Unfortunately not able to get that kill. Invisible Woman ult from the enemy team comes out. Luna ult from his team comes out. Gets a nice dash out of the way. And he probably could have saved his ult here. Especially because his whole team is pretty much dead at this point. They do get rezzed. And the enemy does get that updated spawn location. Reset the clock to about 3.5 minutes. And he's going to get run down by Strange using his health pack knowledge to stay alive there. Gets a couple nasty headshots on the Strange and just using his left shift to get out. Star-Lord is going to go absolutely crazy on the enemy team there, as there's a lot of people that are lower on health. Opting to use this res, trying to save this momentum a little bit more. And just going back and standing behind this Strange here. And he's just consistently doing damage. He's building that ult very quickly. I also don't like using ults here. I don't know. That Doctor Strange landed a pretty decent ult there. It gets the Adam Warlock in it. I just don't like using ults right here on this corner, just because the enemy spawns, you know, maybe 40 yards away. So I like to save them as they're rounding this corner or something like that. I don't know. Feels like just kind of a trivial run back, if you will. Enemy Luna ult and Invisible Woman ult come out. Unfortunately, his team is hit by the Doctor Strange ult. Out legendaries the other legendary. Finishes off Doctor Strange. Gets a nice KO on the Bucky there. And the Adam Warlock ult comes out from the other team, rezzing 3 or 4 of them. Star-Lord kind of runs it there. And this is a pretty chaotic game. They are holding this last point very well, though. Just under 2 minutes on the clock. Soul Bond coming in from the other team, so going to keep them a little bit safer. And he's just absolutely blasting. He's just constantly doing damage. Already 60%, 63% to his next ult. Lines up some shots on the Star-Lord. He was actually standing still. Not entirely sure what was happening there. Keeping pace with the enemy Star-Lord there. So they should have ult around the same time. The rest of his team doing very well playing this corner. Invisible Woman ult comes out from the enemy team, but with the help of Doctor Strange ult, they're able to still take out the Bucky through it, even though he's standing in that healing field. And they're going to get a nice quick wipe there with just about a minute left on the clock. The other team still has quite a bit of distance to go, and it's at this point that I would start feeling pretty confident, especially because the enemy team only has 1 ult available. This Star-Lord has a really nasty habit of just standing still around corners, so he's kind of running it. That's a little bit ridiculous. Forces the Luna ult immediately. His Luna ult to counter. Just going to pad some stats here. Blast into the enemy team. See if they can't get a cheeky kill with a lot of damage on the same target. But both Luna ults going to be popped. Stalling it out. 30 seconds left on the clock. Tries to get in the back line here. Star-Lord responds. And gets a dirty Akamoto there. His Doctor Strange gets a phenomenal ult. His Adam Warlock also getting a phenomenal ult. The enemy Adam Warlock getting another ult as well, so rezzing a lot of members of that team. But they can just run down both healers, take out the Star-Lord there, and with 1 second on the clock, the enemy is not able to touch. I feel like we have to just go back and watch that Doctor Strange ult, though, because that was pretty game-changing. This is right back where the 30 seconds are left on the clock. I just want to see what he does here. This goes super hard. Definitely wins them the game. So Legendary comes out, hits a nice 4-person ult. Good lord. Absolutely insane. So, wow. Yeah, and they get that nice win, not even triggering overtime, and they get that win 3-2. So, if there's anyone that you guys want me to spectate next, if there's any maybe even subscribers, I am going to look at a subscriber replay as well. So I do have one in mind that I'm going to do. But if you want me to spectate you, if you want me to kind of do a guess your rank sort of thing, which I've seen in the comments before, definitely trying to do that. Looking to start streaming here soon in a bit, so keep a lookout for that. And as you can see, he goes 47-10, does an absolute ridiculous amount of damage. Yeah, goes kind of crazy here. So if you want to watch more from this guy too, I will link his Twitch in the description below. I'll leave the replay ID. Like the video if you liked it, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.